We have the president of baseball operations for the St. Louis Cardinals, Chaim Bloom, joining us right now. Chaim, great to have you on. So, how is camp with? We've been talking to some of the younger players. A lot of those younger players now becoming more senior members and leaders of the team, as it was a busy offseason for you.
Yeah, and that's really been the cool part of this camp so far. Every year is different. You never really know what you're going to have in terms of the vibe till you get in there. And with a lot of these guys seeing that they can make this what they want it to be, and they can step up and they can take a leadership role. And I've always believed you can lead at any age. It's really about bringing a really good and authentic version of yourself to this. And it's been cool to see some of these guys realize, like, they understand the standard here is very high. We want to keep that very high, but they get to define what that looks like now for them going forward. And that's always better than having it imposed from the outside when the group there gets to define it. I will say, the biggest problem I actually have with this camp so far is that I thought Kratz was going to be on with us.
Nope.
And
big leagued you.
I mean,
did you fire him too at one point?
No, I never have. I had him as a player briefly, and then actually worked with him a little bit during one of the years in Boston, and he was always so reliable. I guess he's changed.
He's changed. He's got a big raise now, so he's getting a new house done or new kitchen done. So,
we had a renovation here throughout the entirety of last year, as everybody could see, and all of our Jupiter-based people just worked through it. Got the job done.
So Florida people grind. Pennsylvania
next
people
time we're
don't.
on together with him, we'll have to talk about it.
For sure. All right, so I have a couple questions. First of all, can I just ask why you guys couldn't put the sauna next to the clubhouse? So, guys, there's now dudes in towels walking back and forth here in public.
It's funny.
Is that a miss on the
sauna has that is a new feature of the performance centers. We have a sauna in there, and it has been very popular. Although it took about a week before we broke it, I think, from overuse, because there was an out of order sign on it the last couple of days. I will say the staff to player ratio of people who actually use the sauna is way too high. I think
so more staff.
Yeah.
I
haven't been in there yet.
Players are young though. They don't understand that part of it.
You get old, you need to.
Yes, you got to flush the system.
Get your sweat on.
I'm going to use it as soon as we're done with this interview. I'm going to go use the sauna.
Yeah, I haven't been in there yet. I keep thinking if I go in there, then people are going to stop the conversation and they'll just ruin the vibe.
Exactly.
But I might try it at some point.
Yeah, that's smart. You're president of baseball ops. How does the hierarchy work?
It's different.
GM, president of baseball ops. You have the second parking spot, by the way, not the first one.
No. The owner has the first one, as it should be. It's different everywhere. I mean, a lot of it, titles are different in a lot of places. When my career started, the sort of top person on the front office hierarchy was almost always a GM. But, that being said, like when things got revamped with the Rays, Andrew Friedman, the whole time he was there, never had the GM title. We actually didn't have a GM till much later. So everybody does it a little differently. And then you started to see just, the job has grown. The industry's grown. There's just so many more things that we're competing on now. So front offices have expanded just to tackle all that work, and that led to some different titles. At the end of the day, what we're called is really less important than what we do and how we work together. So as long as everything's clear to everybody, it shouldn't really matter.
Is Andrew Friedman, we had him on, we were in Dodgers camp, and I asked him this, is he the godfather of GM, president of baseball ops? Because he was kind of the first Rays guy, right, to go to the Dodgers, and then they're kind of all over the league.
You mean the godfather of the title or of like the Rays tree?
The Rays both, kind of.
Well, as far as the Rays tree, I'm curious what he said, but obviously there's so many of us that got to be a part of that and then go on, whether there or elsewhere, to just do all sorts of cool things. It was a really special place to grow up, and amazingly fortunate to have gotten my start in baseball from him and gotten to work for him for all those years and stay a friend. And, there's a lot, it was a really special place. There's a lot of really cool things that came out of that. When I think about the people that I got to work with, the things we got to do, couldn't ask for, anything more. Wouldn't trade that experience for anything. As far as the title, I think there were a couple others. Like, I think when Theo went from Boston to Chicago, that title came to play there, and that was a little before. I'm probably forgetting one or two. Again, titles are, on some level, they're important for everybody to understand and for there to be clarity around what people's jobs are.
You want to know you're the boss, right? So you're just like, I need this super title.
But at the end of the day, it's like, call us whatever you want. We're here to get a job done, and that's what matters at the end of the day.
I think this town, and talking about St. Louis, has seen a ton of success in terms of their baseball team, right, for a long period of time. Do you think the modern fan understands the process of a team going through what could be some pain points and just whatever word you want to call it to get to the next great Cardinals team? Do you feel like the fan now is better equipped with how much info we have on prospects and just the game being covered more extensively these days?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to compare now versus something way in the past where I just wasn't uh, around and wasn't as in tune with the Cardinals fan base. I will say, just from being around the last couple of years, and I think this is generally true, especially in a baseball town, you do yourself a disservice if you think you can pull the wool over the eyes of your fans. Our fans are really smart; they get this, and I actually have felt, and I understand there, people are polite and they may not tell you everything that they feel to your face. Usually, you got to put them behind a keyboard for that type of stuff, but
What do you mean?
I actually have felt that, look, to the extent that this is the right course for our organization, we believe strongly that it is. And actually, the best and quickest way back to where we want to go is just to lean into this and just make sure we're doubling down on building up our young talent base, because that's how the Cardinals always win. I think I have felt that our fans understand that. And I think we'd actually be doing ourselves and them a disservice if we were to try to pretend that something else is appropriate. At the same time, there's not going to be a day, regardless of how young we are, there's not going to be a day when we show up at this place not expecting to win and not looking to win and not looking to keep that standard really high. It's not a switch you can flip. You establish that from day one. And that should not change just because our strategy is a longer term strategy. That intensity, the attention to detail, the hunger to win whatever's on your plate that day, it's something that I preach a lot within our walls to our staff. On any given day, whether you're a coach, whether you're a front office person, a scout, whatever your role is, whatever's on your plate that day, treat it like game 7. That's the only way we get where we want to go.
So now let's push this forward and get people excited. Both, I know the Cardinals fans know what's coming, but what about even for the national scene? Can you tell us what you've seen, some exciting storylines in camp, whether it's names that you're seeing a lot of improvement from, guys on the big league roster who haven't like fully blossomed, and now you think the next step could be coming?
Yeah, I hate answering this question because it feels like you're tempting the baseball gods just to point out all the things that are going right on March 2nd. But it has been exciting. What stood out, and I think even to some of the newcomers, the group of arms that we have in camp and the way that they've looked early. Again, it is March 2nd, so this feels like playing with fire with respect to the baseball gods. But that group has looked really good. And you can see that both the camaraderie building within the group and also these guys bringing some stuff to the party, which is cool and which is something that we need. Both, starters, bullpen, guys with big league experience, guys without big league experience. That looked really good. And then also just the energy, the hunger from the position player group, whether it's, guys that are established and know exactly what they're doing, or maybe some guys like I think about a Thomas Ajacci, who's leaving us to go play for Team Italy, but who's getting the chance now to play everywhere, and really leaning into that, taking it on with enthusiasm, working hard. Guys are seeing that opportunity. I was actually tied up in a meeting. I didn't get out to see it, but we had this execution drill that the staff came up with. I think there's some videos of it that might have made it out on the internet. And, this is a drill. This is just trying to practice things that we're going to have to execute in season. And the intensity, the competition. I had somebody come up to me and say they were hearing it was sort of a college baseball vibe in a sense, but hearing things like hooting and hollering that they hadn't heard being here for a few years. And, that's coming from the players, and that's been cool to see.
Is that why you gave Ollie a 2-year extension? Because he came up with this drill?
Well, the extension was well in progress before the drill.
I thought you saw this drill and you're like, we got to have him for 2 more years.
No, I missed the drill. I was stuck in a meeting.
No, but you heard about it. You heard about hooting and hollering?
I couldn't hear the hooting
those Dr. Phillips graduates
from it.
are the smartest.
They're the smartest. Come up.
Yeah.
Getting sorry, I'm having some trouble with this.
It's okay.
So I keep
take it off, AJ. You got it. Yeah.
You can take it. You can take it out.
I just want to make sure I can still hear you. But I figured there would be some mention of that at some point. No, it's been great to work with Ollie. I mean, just you want to feel like you're on the same page. What we're embarking on, it's difficult. This game's hard. Everybody's competing. 0-sum game, 1 trophy a year. You want to feel like the organization's on the same page, that we understand where we are, where we're trying to go, how we're going to get there. And, that I have felt from day one. And also just seeing to get where we want to go. This doesn't matter if you're wearing a uniform, wearing a polo shirt, whatever. If you're wearing a towel in the sauna, you're going to have to push yourself beyond what you have been. You're going to have to get out of your comfort zone, push yourself to improve, and not be so insecure as to say there's nothing I can get better at. And he is a secure person who is looking to get better always and looking for people to challenge him on that. And that's the type of person that I enjoy working with.
Since you're hiring ex-Cardinal catchers to come back to the organization, is 2 Dr. Phillips High School brains in one room too much to ask for here? Since you brought back Yachty
openings at present, but I think Yachty might have taken the last one.
Oh, did he? Dang it! I can't believe you picked Yachty over me with our Cardinal careers next to each other.
Absolutely no disrespect. You are remembered fondly in this building.
Well, that's good. Thank goodness for that.
But yeah, but we'll keep talking. Send me a resume or something.
Oh, okay, perfect. You mentioned familiarity. Is that why you trade with the Red Sox all the time? You make all these trades with the Red Sox because of the familiarity with the prospects, or is Craig Breslow? I mean,
no, that's just about trying to get the best return when it's time to do business.
Oh, okay. Because I mean, it just seems to keep happening. Someone used to work there, there's players.
You know what's funny? I've been asked about that a lot, and like all the players we acquired there's actually only one that I was in the organization with.
And who's that?
And that was Hunter Dobbins.
Okay.
The others were all acquired after I was gone. So I had to study up on some of these guys. We got 2 guys in those deals out of their 2024 draft, and Brandon Clark and Blake Ida and Fajardo they picked up in a trade. Fitz they picked up in a trade. Although I did do a little homework on him my last deadline, so I had an eye on him. But it's really with those types of deals. Obviously, when you're moving good talent, you just want to make sure you do the best for your organization. There's 29 other clubs. Whoever's willing to meet our needs and give us the best return, that has to be about the Cardinals and what's best for the Cardinals, and not about me.
Makes sense. How do you know when a guy's ready?
I'm not sure.
You have JJ. You have JJ Weatherhold, who everyone is expecting to be your opening day second baseman, and hitting the top of the order, maybe opening day against your old team, the Rays. How do you know? How do you balance being ready versus rushing?
Yeah. Look, I think the most honest answer I think anybody in the seat could give you in terms of how do you know? You don't. You like to say this is a perfect science. It never is. There's always some art to it. There's always some subjectivity to it. You try to do the best you can in terms of having a clear-eyed, objective view of the player, trying to take some of the emotion out of that view and be really honest, both with the player, also with yourself about, what are we working on? What do we need to see to make this decision, especially in spring training where you can really get fooled if you base this on spring training results. That's a good way probably to make some bad decisions. They do play into it, but there's so many other things that you're looking at. And then some of it's subjective too. It's getting to know how the guy ticks. How is he going to respond to that challenge? When is the right time to put him in there? Big leagues are really hard. I think oftentimes we tend to rush guys more than we let them overcook. But you also don't want them to die on the vine either. So there is not a formula for it. Love to be able to tell you there is. I wish I could tell myself there was. I can't. But we just try to get all the appropriate input, untrust, and ask the right questions to the people that are closest to the player that might understand this player as a person the best. Obviously, look at the needs of your team. Try to make a good decision.
When you say tick, do you look at each player's mental components and say, hey, if it doesn't go perfectly when he first gets called up, how do we think it will go when we have a conversation with someone? And now this is getting past JJ, but just with anyone with a call up, right? When you're dealing with a prospect who's highly rated and you're like, I think he can handle it, but we don't know for sure until we see it. And we might have to have a conversation with him and say, hey, you're going back to the minor leagues. Does that factor into how early you call up any top prospect?
That's exactly it. That and those types of questions are where my head goes the most. Most guys, obviously, the nature of the game is that there's guys that are going to go up and down, be on the shuttle. That's just how we have to manage our roster, how 30 clubs do. But obviously, when you're doing something by choice or you're doing something with a prominent player, you'd like to only call them up once. So you want to feel that they're ready for it, and that is one of the questions you have to ask yourself. Is it's great if it goes wonderfully and everybody's having success, everybody's having a good time. That's awesome. But what's going to happen when this guy gets punched in the face? What's going to happen when he fails? Is he going to be okay? Because almost all big leaguers, including good big leaguers, all-stars, very, very few guys never fail. Those guys are extremely rare cats, even amongst the population of big leaguers that are already incredibly uncommon people who are the best in the world at what they do. They almost all fail at some point. Are they going to grow from it? Are they going to be able to stay with it? Or are they going to drown? And if you believe they're going to be able to stay with it, you have to expect there will be failure. Yeah, you can be wrong on guys. Some of these guys, especially the really good ones, you might not have seen them fail, so you're guessing. But getting to know the person and understanding how is this person going to handle adversity? How are they going to handle that spotlight? There are some indicators we can get on that, and those are important parts of the decision.
What do you say to people that say Chaim Bloom is just a talent evaluator, right? Because you've never really been given the chance to build the team from start to finish. It's kind of Mike Elias comes to mind in Baltimore, right? They say, oh, he drafts great and he develops guys, but now they're in their so-called window. Now people are saying, well, does he know how to put the finished product? What do you say to people that question whether you're just an evaluator and that you know how to put a team over the top?
Well, for starters, I guess I should say thank you for the compliments to the extent that they think I can evaluate talent. That's a good place to start. I'll take that. I've been called worse. There's only so many things you can control about, you obviously control a lot about how you do your job. There are things you can control, things you can't control about the opportunities you get. And so you just try to make the most of the opportunity, do right by the opportunity. I understand those questions. I mean, look, we all share the same goal here. We're obviously in a phase now where the acquisition of young talent is first and foremost for us. But like I said, there's never going to be a time when we're going to be thinking about anything but winning. It just so happens that right now where we are, the best way to get there is to do this. And it's on me, on us, on our whole organization to make sure that we're always keeping winning first and foremost and doing whatever makes sense in that on a given day to push ourselves towards that.
Well, Chaim, we appreciate the time. We're looking forward to seeing this next wave, this next brand of Cardinals baseball. Thanks, man. Good to see you.
Appreciate it. Good to check in with you guys.